What's happening, sports fans? We welcome you back to another San Diego Prep Insider. This time we are joined by Ayana Johnson from Torrey Pines. She is one of the toughest person and a record. Like, there's a lot to get to unpack here, but she is one of the volleyball players for the Falcons. She is committed to college recently. She's the first HBCU commit from Torrey Pines in history. She has a comeback story that there's a lot going on right now. So Ayana, congratulations. Let's start with your college decision. What ultimately made it for you? Because you said it was quite the process.
It was quite the process. I had a few other options, but when I went to go visit South Carolina State and when I got on the phone the first time with my coach, it was just that immediate connection. I was definitely looking at HBCUs from the beginning, and I just fell in love with the school. I love the culture. My family's from the East Coast, so I wanted to be on the East Coast and kind of in the South and just try something different. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love California, but I think that the program has a lot of potential, and I think I can bring a lot to it. I have a very high volleyball IQ and knowledge about the game that I think Coach Barnes saw in me. And I'm super excited to just experience an HBCU and be around people who look like me and who, have gone through some of the same things that I've gone to going to a predominantly white school. I think that it's going to be a super good change and a super good experience for me.
Let me ask you this then. What would maybe be some advice that you would give to other student athletes that are freshmen, sophomores, eighth graders, like in that kind of age range? They're just starting down that path that might go, man, that sounds great. I would love some of that, but I don't know how to get connected to there. I don't know how to wind up, because it's not like there's a ton of HBCUs up and down the West Coast where you can naturally just go take a visit to it and fall in love with it. It's something that you it feels like maybe, or sounds like maybe you have to seek out a little bit if you're a high school athlete out here in San Diego.
Yeah. I think growing up in Southern California, it's good to get out there and experience new things. The East Coast and the South are completely different than the West Coast. So I think kind of researching what areas you would find most interesting to you that have the most HBCUs and kind of just hit them. Also consider your major. I want to major in criminal justice, and I think that's a huge thing that HBCUs are gaining upon. So that's something that I looked at when I was looking at HBCUs, and they're growing so much. They're getting a lot more money. They're getting a lot more coverage by, the ESPN and news stations. And so I think it's kind of like a reward to you. You kind of allowing yourself to build on HBCU history, and you're contributing to that, which is something that HBCUs haven't gotten a lot of attention for the past, I don't know, 100 years. So I think that's what a lot of people should focus on, just reaching out to coaches and watching games and looking at their programs and seeing how you could contribute yourself to that team and how you can make them better, because they're getting better every year. So
You mentioned criminal justice.
mhm.
We very 50-50 maybe that we talk to kids that have their majors already decided, but very rarely find anyone that's that gung-ho as that. What do you want to do with that? Are we talking to a future district attorney here, a public advocate, a cop? What do you want to go do with that?
I've always been into, the cop shows and being a detective. So that's always been my dream. But I really do love forensic science. So I'm not completely sure yet what I want to do with it, but maybe go down the path of being an attorney. I think that I definitely have those leadership skills, and I love talking to people. I think myself in the courtroom would do really well. So I think, just experiencing that, and especially in the Black community, criminal justice is so important. I'm very passionate about BLM. So I think that I'm already connected to it, and that's why I chose that major.
I don't know if this is me putting you on the spot, but here at San Diego Prep Insider, we love a good list. Nothing gets us going on sports radio better than a good debate over a top ranking. Can you give me top 5 cop shows?
Top 5 cop shows.
Maybe
Okay.
top 3? Is there some sort of ranking of some sort of something that you like to watch that we can get out of this?
I would say Law and
Let's
Order.
start with number 5. We'll go 5-1 here.
Oh, 5-1. Okay.
Yes.
I'd say NCIS probably. That's on my top. Um, Forensic Files. Love Forensic Files. Unsolved murder cases. I'd say the show Cops. And my number 1 is definitely Law and Order SVU.
Struggled quite a bit there for one sound effect that I don't know if it even came through on Ayana. All right. Love that. Absolutely love that. Law and Order, for me, it's just the original one. I love it's the most bingeable background. Like when you got work or whatever to do, you can keep it on because you know they're gonna always get there, man. And
Exactly.
you're like, we'll get there. I don't need to dial in 100% of this. Yeah, love it. Okay. For this season, you are in the midst of a comeback right now. We love a good comeback. This, though, feels like an extra crazy comeback because for you to get through all of this process now and have your college decided on, you'd want senior year to just be this relaxing, okay, we get to go out and enjoy hunting down a championship because that's always the mindset at Torrey Pines. But you are currently recovering from an ACL tear. You still have senior night, if not more of the season circled on your personal calendar. So how is the recovery process going? How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, honestly. It was definitely hard in the beginning. I was debating surgery. I'm going to miss out my senior season, but I've had a lot of obstacles thrown at me throughout my whole entire volleyball career. You know, going and playing on club at such a high level is very, very stressful. And my recruiting process was not easy too, but I did it all by myself, took it into hands, was just emailing coaches. And when I finally committed, I felt that sense of relief, that sense of accomplishment. But I found out that I was playing the whole entire season on a torn ACL. So that gave me even more motivation. It's like if I can play on a torn ACL, I can almost do anything. So, I got my surgery about 7 weeks ago. The recovery hasn't been easy, but I'm finally walking again now. And I think I'm taking this year as a reset. Honestly, that's how I'm trying to look at it, with a positive note. Just work on my recovery, get stronger, and be ready for South Carolina State. I mean, it sucks that I'm going to miss out on a chunk of my senior season, but I think my story is really important, and that motivates me more to know that I can get through this because, I was able to get recruited by a Division I school, and that makes me more motivated to get stronger, to get healthier, and to be better and 110 better than I was before. So it's definitely going to be rough, but I think, it's going to be good for me, and it's going to be good to have a reset and get myself back up to where I was.
More team oriented of a question because obviously you're going to be sidelined for a little while, but the process of tryouts are underway. You guys have at least a rough concept of what the team is going to look like this year. Can you give the sports fans out there a little bit of a preview as to what the Torrey Pines volleyball team is going to be like this season?
Yeah, I think that we definitely have had some huge changes. We lost a lot of good seniors last year, but I think this year we're looking pretty good. I mean, we have some big top recruits coming in. We have UCLA, we have ASU, we have Duke, we have Santa Clara. So we're definitely going to have some strong firepower. I think what Torrey Pines has, how we separate ourselves, is a lot of spirit and a lot of hard work and grit. So, it's going to take a little getting used to, as we have a lot of new players coming in. But I think that we're just known to grind and to take any, challenge that comes to us. And I definitely am going to take that leadership role as a senior while being on the sidelines, and taking that initiative to try to get the team together as much as possible. And I think that's going to be a big role for me this year. We have amazing coaching staff. Brendan Dean, he's been our coach for years now, and he's the biggest motivator, biggest pusher. He gets us where we need to go, and he knows how to work us, and when we're at our limits, when we're not. So I think it's going to be a really good season. We're definitely going to have some struggles. We have me out. There's another player injured, but we're going to get through it. We faced a lot of adversity last year, and we can face it this year.
You mentioned struggles, you mentioned adversity. You guys also play 40 of like the toughest games possible. There is no real like, oh, let's get through this one chunk and then we'll coast of your schedule. So it's Redondo Beach after Cathedral Catholic, after Carlsbad, after other big name school from some other country or state or whatever. Like, you guys never have a moment where you let up. I have always been fascinated by programs that can sustain at that kind of level. And so tons of credit due to Coach Brennan Dean and everybody at the sports staff there. I'm curious for you, though. Your boyfriend, Samuel Cooper, is getting a lot of love and a lot of attention as one of the top quarterbacks in the San Diego section.
Yeah.
Is there a level, though, of you're like, oh, and I don't want him to hear this wrong, but you're like, oh, that's cute. You got to play 10 games at the D3 level. We gotta grind constantly. Like, you guys got to be competitive on all sorts of fronts. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it across the board though? You can beat surgery aside right now. Can you beat him in most things athletically? Because as an outside hitter on a volleyball team, usually that's a pretty diverse skill set.
Yeah, it's a pretty diverse skill set. I mean, we've been going to the gym, we've been working out, and I've been lifting, he's been lifting. I've been sometimes I even walk faster than him right now with recovering from a torn ACL. So I'm not gonna knock it. He's definitely probably faster than me, and he's been doing a lot of stuff.
But you've
But
been keeping him honest. So it sounds like if
yeah,
University City football has a lot of success this year, people need to send some love and appreciation your way for
they
keeping
do.
their quarterback on.
I was just giving him a recovery session last night. I have the massage gun, everything. So I'm definitely taking a lot that I've learned in my recovery process and using it for him and telling him that he needs to stretch and everything else. So definitely a lot of his progress, he should give it to me.
You had talked about him before we started this interview. You talked about him also maybe potentially following down your path of looking at an HBCU. Do you think that that is, I'm not asking for a spoiler on where he's going to commit because that's his decision. We'll have him on the show for that. But do you think that that is something that people should take more seriously than other offers when you see him, posting publicly, getting something from here, something from there? Is that something you think he's really interested in maybe sending a message about doing?
Yeah, he's told me that he's super interested in HBCUs. I mean, he has an offer from Howard right now, which is one of the top HBCUs out there. And I think he really, enjoyed talking with the coach and learning about HBCUs. And, Herman Smith, I got to give him a lot of credit for going to Jackson State. I think that, we're gonna make big waves with more athletes going to HBCUs and finding the best athletes, especially there's a lot more from Southern California going to HBCUs. So I definitely think that's on his radar. He would enjoy that, something different, than some of his maybe other teammates or friends have committed to or gotten offers from. So I definitely think he's looking down that path.
Yeah, you probably couldn't pick a more diverse thing than a kid committed to an HBCU throwing a touchdown to a kid committed to Boise State.
Yeah.
I'll let people Google the demographics of both and figure the rest of that joke
Mm-hmm.
out on their own, but it's decently diverse. All colors of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
Ayana, we thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your commitment. We hope to see you at the NLI signing day, putting that
Mm-hmm.
name to paper on the dotted line. She's just another one of the student athletes you need to say you knew now so that you knew and when. And we will have senior night circled in huge
Yeah.
red ink for Torrey Pines to see
Yes.
you out there. Just one good kill. Just
Thank
one good right over
Take
the
it
top,
or something.
break someone's nose. No, I'm like, you're out for blood on one good hit this season to close it
Yeah.
out. Just another
Yeah.
one of the great student athletes you need to go check out. Thank you, everyone, sports fans, for tuning in. We'll be back with another episode of San Diego Prep Insider.